from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who's here to take you, I don't want to tease this episode too early, but the podcaster that somehow missed something so obvious. This is a Tale of the Tape episode, or Tale of the Tapes. I caught in the sequel, I realized the pun, but in the first one, I didn't. But however you view the word argyle, whether that's for socks or sweaters, or a movie with Bruce Willis, or the movie that's about to come out that reminded me of an earlier film. And that this film I'm looking forward to seeing, Argyle. Probably, maybe I've already seen it by the time this comes out. But this is you say, I thought this was a sleep podcast. What am I listening to? Is this like film muck? Film? Well, it is in this episode. Yes, welcome to Sleep With Me. I'm glad you're here. It is a very different show. I totally acknowledge that. I hear you. And I'm here more to keep you company while you fall asleep, to barely entertain you and take your mind off of stuff. So, yeah, give the show a few tries. What we got coming up is support, so the podcast can be free for everybody that likes it that way. Then there's a long, meandering intro. That's meant to ease you into bedtime and help you wind down. And I'll keep going like this, where I can't even explain what the podcast is. But that's kind of, I don't know. I'm here it's like a TV on in the other room. And then there'll be a story later. It'll be a bedtime story of me trying to remember the plot of two films. And so it's a podcast. It does take a few tries to get used to. So give it a try and see how it goes. You got nothing to lose. I also have a website set up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. And that has other sleep podcasts and sleepy stuff on there you could check out. So check that out. But I'm glad you're here. I've already, this is just supposed to be the teaser. I'm really glad you're here, though. I really hope I can help you fall asleep. And these sponsors are how we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. All right, buddy, this is Scoots here. If you're new, you don't have to listen to this or worry about it. But if you're a regular listener, maybe you had the same experience I had when I tried to make the show, which was like, how come there's not something out there that sees how I'm feeling in the deep, dark night? And so I decided to make Sleep With Me, because I said, is anybody else feeling this loneliness, this inability to turn off, that needs a distraction and a friend, that needs a podcast that puts you to sleep? And so I made Sleep With Me. And the reason we asked for support for the show, whether it's supporting the sponsors or supporting the show directly on Sleep With Me Plus, is because over 120 hours per week of work goes into the show right now. And in the past, I did as much of that as I could myself, and that was never sustainable, right? So if you do count on it, supporting it, just make sure it'll be there for you. So your action kind of, make sure Sleep With Me will be there for you, but a lot of other people too. Kind of cool bonus. And if you sign up for Sleep With Me Plus, you get everything organized in the way you want to listen. You get story-only episodes. At certain tiers, you get all intro episodes. You get all-night, extra-long compilations. You get bonus shows and exclusives that might not fit in this main feed, and you get ad-free full episodes, of course. But you also get that peace of mind and that joy of participating in something. I don't know. You say, "Wow, I'm glad this is in the world because I needed it." So if any of that appeals to you, think about supporting the show at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. But thanks, and those of you that are hearing this have supported the show in the past, thanks a lot, because the show's here because of you. And this isn't. I know not everybody's in a position to support the show, so I totally understand that too. And that's a great thing, again, for the people that do. There's people that would love to support the show, but they can't. Or there's people that would love to support the show, but they're just kind of stuck or whatever. So your support supports the show for them too. So thank you so much. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Helix Sleep. Do yourself a favor, go to helixsleep.com/sleep and take that Helix quiz. That was about 4 years ago that I took the Helix quiz. Got matched with the Helix Dusk Luxe, which is a perfect mattress for me and the way I sleep. Because the thing is, the Helix lineup offers 20 unique mattresses, including the award-winning Luxe collection, the newly released Helix Elite collection. They have a mattress designed for big and tall sleepers, even a mattress made just for kids. And how would you know which one is going to fit you and your body? You just take that Helix sleep quiz. You find the perfect mattress in under 2 minutes. That personalized mattress is shipped straight to your door free of charge. And Helix knows there's no better way to test out a new mattress than by sleeping on it in your own home. That's why they offer a 100-night trial and a 10 to 15-year warranty to try out your new mattress. And here's the thing. Everybody's unique. Everybody sleeps differently. And that is why Helix has several different mattress models to choose from, each designed for specific sleep positions and feel preferences. You know, if you're like me, I sleep on my stomach and my side. I sleep hot, so I want to stay cool. And that's what happened. I took the quiz. I got matched with the Helix Dusk Luxe. I love my Helix Dusk Luxe, and the way I know is every time I leave town, I cannot wait to get back. That first night back in my Helix Dusk Luxe, it's like I'm in a state of sleep bliss. Not only is it the best mattress I've slept on, but setup is fast and easy. Helix mattresses are delivered in a box straight to your door for free. And Helix is offering 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep and use the code HelixPartner20. This is their best offer yet. It won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. All right, everybody, it is time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, the one part of the podcast where I'll pop my peas, if you please. I thank the listeners who support the sponsors, who take action. That's how we're able to be here for you free twice a week, is those people. I know so many people enjoy this ad-supported linear show, and I'm so glad we get to do it for you, and it's with all these people's help. And I want to thank Josie, who signed up for a referral program. Josie already earned 3 months of ad-free episodes and story-only episodes on Sleep With Me Plus, referred 3 people to the show for free, just sharing about it on social media, letting people know about it. You could sign up and you could be like Josie. You just have to share on a regular basis. You earn referrals, you introduce people to the free podcast, and then you get the paid version of the podcast in return. And all you need to do is go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer and then let me know about it. So thank you, Josie. So that's the first part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. The second part is you getting the support you need right now. If you're in need of support right now, fill out, just go to the show notes. There's links to resources, including international resources you could connect with. It's also about being a part of positive change, taking action, not just saying Black Lives Matter, not just saying stop AAPI hate, not just saying support Ukraine, but taking action, learning more. There's links to resources where you could do that in the show notes, or you could join some of the things we're doing, supporting the Midnight Mission and people experiencing homelessness in Los Angeles, supporting the Trevor Project, and supporting Hand in Hand. So wherever your heart is, wherever your heart aches, you could take action. You don't have to help us support one of those organizations, but you can, or you could go out there and support something else, just to be a part of positive change. But you can always check out the show notes for more information if you want to support one of those organizations and join us. And that's the end of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. Oh, Mystery Bart, a lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Posty poster son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Carl W. the legend. Also Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at JonathanMann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bar. Don't forget, you want you say, I'd prefer an ad-free experience. I prefer story-only episodes, but I want it for free. You could earn it. sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. You just introduce people to the free podcast, and you could earn months of ad-free episodes of Sleep With Me and story-only episodes of Sleep With Me on Sleep With Me Plus at sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing trouble, getting to sleep trouble, staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever is keeping you awake. It could be thoughts, things on your mind about the past, the present, the future, thinking thoughts. It could be feelings related to those thoughts, any emotions that are coming up for you. It could be changes, it could be any physical sensations you're experiencing. It could be changes in time, temperature, routine, work schedules, travel. You could be going through something, getting over something, or anticipating something. Or it could be something else. And the only reason I list all that stuff is so that you know you're not alone. Or maybe you don't even know it, right? I don't know if I say that as a turn in phrase. Is that a coin in phrase or turn in phrase? I have no idea, but I just say that because for my experience and a lot of listeners' experience is that it feels lonely in the deep, dark night. Not everybody feels that way. Maybe it feels that way when people don't understand, like why you can't sleep. But the important thing is whatever's keeping you awake, I may be able to relate to how it feels. Maybe I haven't been through something similar, but deep down, I might have some of the similar feelings. But even if I don't, even if I can't relate to how you feel, even if I haven't been through something similar, there is someone listening right now, and they are sitting up they're perking up before they get comfortable again because they have been through something similar. They do know how you feel. And I know this. I know that they're kind of leaning in and they're nodding their head for you because they're saying, yeah, I've been through something tough that kept me awake. Or maybe it was something, some people, they can't sleep because of a positive anticipation or whatever it is. There's someone out there who can relate to how you feel. And the other side of that is the reason I work so hard on this show, and I've been doing this over 10 years, riding the ups and downs, is because I think it's important you get the sleep you deserve. That's how I felt about myself when I couldn't sleep. I said, man, why can't I just get the sleep I need? And I believe that for you. I believe you deserve a bedtime you don't have to dread, especially starting on Friday, dreading about going to bed on Sunday. A bedtime you could look forward to or at least feel neutral about, and the rest you need so your life is more manageable. So that's why I make the show. Those are the two reasons. What I'll do here is I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, and superfluous tangents, which means I'm going to get mixed up. I'm going to go off topic. I'm going to forget what I was talking about. Then I'll double back. Then I'll say, what was I talking about? And get mixed up. But it's all to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff so you could fall asleep. It's kind of different. This show is not a show you really listen to. You just kind of listen to it. Now, you could listen. Believe me, I'm going to be here to the very end, but it's kind of a podcast that's just out of focus. Some people listen to me at a mumble. Some people listen to me. You can kind of see how it goes, but you don't have to pay attention. I'm not competing. Well, I am competing for barely any of your attention. I'm trying to say, hey, look over here and barely listen to me. So it's a podcast you don't listen to. Also doesn't put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company while you fall asleep. To take your mind off of stuff. The reason the shows are over an hour is so there's no pressure to fall asleep. There are people listening who need a break during the day or who just can't sleep. And So I'm here to the very end, whether you're awake or asleep. I really think that's one of the strange things that makes the podcast work. I'm here so you don't need to listen to me. I'm here not to put you to sleep, and somehow that helps you fall asleep. I'm just here to distract you. I'm here to be your bore friend, a friendly voice in the deep, dark night. Your bore bae, your bore sib, your bore bud, your bore bestie, your neighbor, your bore bee, your bore burr, your bores, your bore cuz, your bore sib, your bore ba, your bore bud. That's a new one. That was, it's kind of bore bud, bore bruh, bore ba. That sounds like something like a toddler or a sleep podcaster would say. Who's that? That's my borba. Oh, really? Is that, yeah, it's my borba. It's like a combination of a strange uncle and a wubby. Okay, so borba. Hopefully I'll remember that. I don't think I will. And then the funny thing is this will come out and then people will remind me. So there'll be a gap, borba. So yeah, just see how it goes. When you first get to this podcast, if you're new, you may be experiencing some of these feelings. Not like they could be anywhere along strong to mild. Cause this of like, what did I just tune into? Skepticism, doubt, frustration, irritation, even because this show's very different. You may have expected something different. You may have expected something reasonable and a little bit more serious, or a little bit more, I don't know, like one of those triangles, or a Tibetan bowl. And that was my last time there. They said, "Are you eating out of the Tibetan bowl?" And I just was like, you know what I mean? I realize it's a musical, it's like, yeah, no cook. Yeah, by the way, I'm cooking dinner in the kettle drum. And then I said, I realized that was, that's the last time I was invited to many different places. So while I was looking for a bowl and I knew this was a bowl, don't worry, I rinsed it out. And then I rinsed it out. I'll rinse it out again. Don't worry. Those are, those Fruity Pebbles. I can scratch them out with my fingertips or we'll soak it. So that's how the Tibetan bowls get used around here. I mean, I like Tibetan bowls. Don't get me wrong. Just not at bedtime or when I'm meditating. It's just, I mean, I do like listening to them. I'm not kidding. Like, I'm not anti-Tibetan bowls for usage or listening. It's just that in the traditional Tibetan bowl circumstances, if I could, I'm not kidding. I use Tibetan bowls on my timers and other things, non-meditation timer, because I want to keep a positive association with Tibetan bowls, not that it's reminding me I'm not meditating and I'm I'm thinking about the stuff I got to do. So you could be mildly or stronger irritated. The thing is, this podcast, it just takes some getting used to. So give it a few tries. I said at the beginning, I'll say it again. Sorry, you didn't hear it, but I just got a call from company about something, so now I'm distracted. But so I think I was saying that it does take a couple tries to get used to the show because it is very different. I'm different, but just see how it goes and see if the podcast helps. Most people that subscribe to the paid version of the podcast said it took 2 or 3 tries. At first, I didn't know what to expect, or I didn't like it, or I didn't listen for years, and then I came back. So see how it goes. There's no pressure to like me or the podcast either. There's tons of other sleep podcasts. I have a bunch listed at sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. So yeah, there's no pressure. Like really, that's a cool thing. And the longer I make the show, the more I realize it. It's like, hey, this just doesn't work for everybody. It's just one of those things that if it works for you, even some people have been listening the whole history of the show, and some people come and go. But you say, oh, I didn't realize I was looking for something like this friend, a goofy friend in the deep, dark night to keep me company. I had no idea, but I've been looking for it my whole life. So, and it doesn't have to be that version of it, right? So just see how it goes. And if not, check out sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. And again, if you're a Tibetan bowl manufacturer, like, good job. Your bowls don't leak. I mean, obviously, that's one of the things that's clear. Like a little tinge of something on there. I said, well, maybe I should have rinsed it twice. I think it was like, the essence of, whatever. But so, okay, so what else do you need to know if you're new? Structure the show also can throw people off. And the show is designed in a very deliberate way, but it is adjustable. So let me lay out why we structure the show the way we do. It starts off with a greeting. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Ideally, I say something slightly silly after that. So you feel seen and welcomed in, and you get that the tone of the show, even though sleep is serious, that it's somewhat lighthearted and friendly, but a bit different too. And you say, okay, I might check that podcast out. Then there's support, sponsor support. So the show's free. Paying for it is optional. And the majority of people love listening to the show in that manner, and they listen linearly. So I'll lay out the linear wise. But again, there's a bunch of different ways if you'd prefer to listen to different versions of the show, or you could use your podcast app to adjust it. So then there's a long meandering intro, which we're in the middle of or late stages of. And the long meandering intro is separate from the greeting and from the support. But for some reason, if you're having a strong reaction to the beginning of the show, the intro gets lumped in with that. So I do like to point out that it is a show within a show. It is about 15 or 20 minutes long, and it's not intended to put you to sleep. It will put some people to sleep. And once you become a regular listener, there's some people that just fall asleep right away. But for most people, and the way the intro is really designed, is to be like a familiar friend who talks about something different every time. But the intro is 15 to 20 minutes long to help ease you into bedtime as you're getting ready for bed or getting comfortable or winding down. And that's just what's been shown to work over the years, what's worked for me personally, and what I hear from listeners. Now, there are a percentage of people, like 2% of people start the show somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes. And then there's a lot of people that subscribe to story-only version of the podcast, but there's also people that subscribe to an intro-only version of the podcast. So you could kind of see how it goes and adjust as you become a regular listener if the show works for you. But the intro is a slow wind down. Then there's support after the intro, and then tonight after the intro, I'll tell a bedtime story about my trying to remember the plot of the movie Romancing the Stone, and Romancing the Stone sequel, Jewel of the Nile. And I'll just give you full disclosure. I won't sing full disclosure, but full disclosure that that's from Big Fish the Musical. The song, I like that song. Like, if you like Broadway, look up Big Fish the Musical. Andrew Lippa, John August, full disclosure. Now I got to cry. I'm like, please, I can, no, I know it's full disclosures from that, right? Hopefully. But so, now I'm totally mixed up. Full disclosure. How did I start talking about Big Fish the Music? Oh, so because I forgot, I didn't realize that the title Romancing the Stone had like the vehicle for the story in it. I mean, the romancing part I got. But somehow I totally mistook the plot of the movie to have nothing to do with the stone, like a jewel, the Jewel of the Nile. I realized that one was a pun or whatever, but Romancing the Stone, I don't know why. So I talk about the movie, and I'm trying to figure out what everybody's after in the movie. And I had to actually, Wikipedia had to tell me, like, dude, they're looking for, like, Wikipedia doesn't always do this, but it was like, dude, they're looking for a stone, romancing the stone. Oh, I thought it was like a briefcase or something, with, or, other things that I speculate on in a little while. But no, they're looking for, how do you find the stone? Oh, okay. So yeah, many, that's why I'm only qualified to make a sleep podcast. And that's, and I can give you a spoiler of how I'll get confused, right up front. So if you're new, just see how it goes. I'm really glad you checked out this podcast. I work really hard. So do a team of people because we all yearn and strive. We all really want to help you fall asleep. Thanks again for coming by. And here's a couple of ways we're able to be here for free twice a week. All right, everybody, it's Scoots here. I'm talking about Sleep With Me Plus. If you haven't checked out a trial, there's a 7-day trial at all levels at Sleep With Me Plus. You go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, sign up, cancel in 6 days before your trial renews. But I want to talk about an email I get somewhat often. It kind of goes like a little bit like this, so maybe you can relate to this email. Scoots, I love this podcast. I've been listening to it for years. It has changed my life. It has changed how I sleep. And I know most people love listening to this ad-supported version. They listen linearly, and they wind down during the intro. They fall asleep during the story. But Scoots, I'm different. I love the show, man. But the thing is, I listen all night long, and, just transitions between the shows and the ads, or, oh man, like with Supporter Zone, I fall asleep early during the intro, and then I hear the Supporter Zone or the sponsors between the story, or I'm a musician, so hearing the Mystery Bard sing, and I want you to know, yeah, I see you. You love the podcast. It's had this powerful impact. I'm putting you to sleep. You consider that priceless, right? That's what we designed Sleep With Me Plus for all those people that listen all night, people that just want the intros, people that just want the stories, musicians who don't want any music, they get that story-only feed, people that don't want to hear the Supporter Zone, they don't want to hear the ads, they don't want to hear the thank yous at the end. You just want one specific show, a lot of it, whether it's Bake Off or TNG or the certain stories. You want exclusive content. All those people are a little bit different, and that's what we finally have been able to offer with Sleep With Me Plus. It's for those of you that say, I love this show, but I could use a little bit more of this or a little bit less of this. So get over there. Sleep With Me Plus was made for you. We've been waiting 10 years to be able to do this for you. So you could sign up and, again, test it out first. It works in almost every podcast app, even on Spotify. And you can sign up at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, and check it out. Thanks. All right, everybody, Scoots here, and this is an episode. I'm wondering how it's going to go. This is kind of a tale of the tape hybrid episode. So where I kind of talk about a movie, or in this case, 2 movies that I've seen that I have a very vague recollection of. But first, we're going to talk about why, right? Because I like to go to movies in the movie theater. And I try even now to find films and say, okay, like whether it's a first run film or some sort of, festival or a second run or whatever it is. I love going to the movies. And I've seen a trailer for a movie twice in the last 2 movies, and it really made a connection for me. The movie's called Argyle. This is not a sponsored thing or anything. It comes out, you're probably hearing this, is because it comes out in February 2024. And part of the reason I'm excited about it is it has Sam Rockwell in it, as well as Bryce Dallas Howard, Dua Lipa. That was how I first heard about it. But so I saw the trailer for this movie, and it looks really good. I will probably see it in the theater, but it also reminded me, because at first when I heard about it, I was like, what's this movie? It's some sort of thriller? But then when you see the trailer, for me, I said to myself, this is a bit like Romancing the Stone. Different, but similar. So I'm going to talk about the movie Romancing the Stone and its, sequel called, let's see, Romancing the Stone. Oh boy, I hit the wrong button though. And its sequel was called Jewel of the Nile. Now, I just want to see a couple things. It had Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner, and Danny DeVito were the stars of the movie. Came out in the 80s. And when did Jewel of the Nile come out? Jewel of the Nile came out, what year? 1985. And same top three stars, three very talented performers, I would say, and people I loved seeing back then. The interesting thing is I was way too young to see either of these movies, but for some reason I feel like I saw, so this gets into why is this important. So Jewel of the Nile would have been when I had my paper route. And it looks like I was too young to see it, but I saw it in the movie theater because what happened was this was where the podcast was formed. So I'd probably seen Romancing the Stone on HBO, and then Jewel of the Nile came out. And again, maybe it was PG. I don't think they had invented PG-13 yet. But so this was this brief time in my life's history where I had a paper route, so I had money. I had, I'm the oldest of 6 kids. I was still, like, this would not, I mean, even as a parent, like, I consider myself a pretty open-minded. I would have not allowed this. But it was pretty flexible childhood I had. Well, let's see when that movie came out, what time of year. And so I would go to the movie theater by myself or sometimes with a friend. And I would go to, like I would go to pretty much every movie that was in these theaters that I could walk to, which was a double theater. I think it only had two screens. It may have had, I'm pretty sure it only had 2 screens. Just looking through the reviews and stuff, it was around a 6.1. This one says not abysmal, but not as good as the first one. Just trying to see. The release date was December 11th, 1985. So I probably saw it during our holiday break. Its budget was $25 million, and it brought in worldwide $96 million. So it's a pretty successful movie. And they don't make movies like that anymore, $25 million budget movies. So that was the sequel, which we'll talk about as well, because, Robert Zemeckis was the director? Wow, we're learning a lot here of Romancing the Stone. Okay, did not know that. It's written by Diane Thomas. And let's see who directed Jewel of the Nile. Louis Teague. Wow, so this is interesting stuff. Was there a third one? No, I don't think so. Okay, so I saw the second movie. I definitely saw the first movie before I saw it. And let's talk about what I remember about the movie, right? Pretty sure, why is her name Joan? Popped right in my head. That rarely happens. Let's just see if I have that right. Joan Wilder, okay, and Jack Colton. Okay, so in this movie, I wonder if that's the name of her character. Well, we can look up facts later. So here's what I remember about Romancing the Stone. I guess let's do some research about it on Wikipedia. Why don't we do that first? Romancing. How's everybody doing tonight? It's good to have this loose format where I could take your mind off of stuff and put you to sleep. Okay, I'm not going to read through the plot or anything, right? We'll save that, and then we'll read through it afterwards. And also look up where we could watch it. Okay, so Romancing the Stone came out in 1984, 106 minutes long. It had a budget of $10 million and made $115 million. And originally it was written by Diane Thomas in 1979. And Zemeckis was working on Cocoon, but liked it and offered to direct it. They turned down at first. And Zemeckis moved on from Cocoon, and the initial early screening, what does that mean? Alan Silvestri would collaborate with Zemeckis on later films, compose the score. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense, but it sounds like they made the movie. But plot and cast. We don't need that. Production, 5 years earlier. Oh, Diane Thomas was was working in Malibu. Sylvester Stallone was originally considered to be Jack Colton. Other leads considered were Burt Reynolds, Clint Eastwood, Paul Newman, Christopher Reeve, all for Jack Colton, and Deborah Winger as Joan Wilder. It was filmed around the world. Reception. They thought it was not good. Studio insiders did not think it would be successful. However, it became a surprise hit and 20th Century Fox's only big hit in 1984. It was the sixth highest grossing film in 1984. And this would allowed, really did lead into the history podcast. This success allowed Zemeckis to make Back to the Future. Wow, it holds an 86% approval rating, so it's pretty well approved on the tomato meter. Some critics, though, said it was a bit like a copy of Raiders of the Lost Ark. So there's a lot of stuff about the reviews. Let's just see let's load up Just Watch. See where we can watch these movies here in the U.S. at least. I can't, recommend that for everybody, but... ROMAN, Romancing the Stone. Okay, 6.9 on IMDb, though. It looks like you do have to purchase it at this time. I mean, can rent it, stream it on any platform. Not available for streaming on TV. Now, that's unfortunate. And then Jewel of the Nile. Same thing, not available on streaming, but you could rent it. So, okay, so that's probably, so I haven't seen either one of these movies in a long, long time. So I'm going to lay out maybe what I remember about the movie, probably be very wrong. Now, like a lot of movies, I think this movie was based on a lot of presumptions about industries and ways of life, and glorified New York City publishing in a way to start with. So Joan Wilder, played by Kathleen Turner, was like a romance writer, incredibly successful romance writer. And the main character in the movie, and I think she has so her normal, ordinary world. We'll just start with a kind of basic plot where we would start a movie. She's an incredibly successful writer. I would bet that either in this movie or the second movie, she's late on her book, but I'm not positive about that. But I can see her doing like book signings and book readings, and she's beloved by the people that love her and her main character, Jack Colton, who is like some strapping hero, like Indiana Jones. I guess she writes like Indiana Jones romances. I mean, I don't know what year Indiana Jones came out in the Raiders of the Lost Ark, maybe 82, 84, which is interesting, that timing. Guess we got to look that up now. Wait, so let's get these dates down. This is like an anthropology class, huh? No? Okay. So part of me just was like, that's hilarious, dude. Okay, we're going to need IMDb for that one. Okay, we got to get back. Not now. Romancing the Stone was 84. Okay, let's get back. Raiders. All right. D81. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, so in 81 was when Raiders came out. So this is a romance based on an Indiana Jones style character. I mean, loosely. I mean, not one-to-one. And Joan Wilder's incredibly successful. I like this. For me, I say, okay, I like it. Kathleen Turner. Now, of course, like one of the elements of these, we've made our own rom-com episodes, is that Kathleen Turner, of course, is unsuccessful as a romance writer. you can't be successful in romance. It's in a movie that has comedic elements. So, of course, her character, I think, is constantly being fixed up on dates that are unsuccessful. And so that's another plot point is, oh, when are you going to settle? You know, her outside pressures from her family and her friends. When are you going to meet the right person? And he said, can't you just let me be? And probably her thing, but also in the back of your mind, when you're asked that question, do they know something I don't know? Or, little doubts creep in. I would say that she is also, kind of portrayed as a well-to-do, successful, like New York City style, romance author. I mean, in some sense, archetypal and not a real way, but, so that means she doesn't go camping. Shorthand for, I don't go camping. And I like to eat at restaurants, and I live in a building with a door person. I think that's pretty, that's 80s shorthand. If you live in New York City and you live in a building with a door person, you probably don't go camping or on an adventure. You'd be out of place. And if you eat most of your meals at a restaurant. So that's our main character, Joan Wilder. What do we remember? Those are things I remember, and then I'm guesstimating that she's unlucky in romance or portrayed that way. Maybe can't come up with the idea for whatever her, not her, she's probably at least written, I would say, 6 books so far, but maybe this is her sophomore slump. But I think it's already a successful series, and it's just like, when are you going to get to work or deliver the copy on the next one? I can also see, different manuscripts changing hands. And so, so there's that going. Also, at the same time, Joan is very close with her sister. And this is just me. These are pieces I'm putting together. But there's the two non-heroic characters are someone and their brother sidekick, who is played by Danny DeVito. And somehow Joan's sister gets involved with them. And in a way where, I don't know if she's like me. She I don't know. In the 80s, powdered sugar was portrayed as was a major plot point in a lot of films. Use of powdered sugar recreationally for topping off your baking, and also as the behind the scenes. And so this movie also takes place in Colombia, which was a major source of powdered sugar. And I think that even if it's on the subtle, just building on what are not well-founded facts, but that maybe Joan's sister is somehow in Colombia, maybe linked to something related to powdered sugar, but I could be wrong. Now, and as someone that struggled with stuff, then she may be calling her sister and saying, hey, could you send me can you, they didn't have Venmo back then or whatever, but hey, could you hit me up with some cash? I'm a little short this month. And so she somehow gets involved with these two gentlemen. And I'm pretty sure her sister's played by somebody that we would know. Let's take a look here. Kathleen Turner. Zach Norman is the other. Ira is the other non-positive person. Okay. Holland Taylor plays Gloria, who's her agent. Mary Ellen Trainor, that's her sister, I think. Elaine. Okay. Now I'm looking at the rest of the cast, and I'm like, wait a second, I don't really know. I'm starting to lose who is who. But I'm also starting to see scenes, and I can picture some of the trailer moments from one of these movies, which is like four-wheel driving, running, and stuff like that. Okay, so those are the elements. Then somehow Joan's sister either gets in her involvement with Danny DeVito and his sibling or partner. They say, okay, well, we're going to, maybe your sister's indebted to us and we need you to bring us cash money to come visit us in Colombia. Now, I'm already got a point in the movie where I can't remember why it starts the way it does. So this gets interesting. So she first probably rejects it, rejecting the call to adventure or these other calls, like, and she says, well, I can't bring it down there. Like, I can't bring you cash money for powdered sugar. Like, can't you just, oh, well, they don't take it. This is like, I'm getting a deal on it. And then they say, come on, bring it down, your sister. It's accumulating compound interest, Joan. And it'll be seriously compounded. So you got to bring it down. So she finally agrees because her sister says, please, compound interest compounds daily. And so she says, okay, I'll come with cash money. So at some point she departs New York, and I think like her agent or publisher is like, Joan, what are you doing? So maybe she's missing a deadline as well. So this is out of character for her. So then she heads out. Now this is where I get foggy. So I'm missing about 10 minutes, maybe only maybe it's just a montage sequence, but somehow she flies to Colombia. And she has to get to Cartagena. I know that much. I mean, just from, I don't know why, it's just in my head. And so I don't know if she has to change flights or she has to she has to hire a vehicle. But let's go with the assumption she had to hire a vehicle. I don't think this is what actually happened in the movie, but I really can't remember. So, but I'm pretty sure, okay, let's say she hires a vehicle, it breaks down. It had to travel through like some serious rainforest type jungle. And somehow during that, like where they're trying to repair it, or maybe they say, well, we have to camp for the night while we wait for a part or something. She also wanders off. And this is where the fish out of water sequences, they start to begin. She has a high heels on. She doesn't have a raincoat, or if she does, it's not a real raincoat. She has multiple suitcases, which is pretty stereotypical of these things. And she's not prepared. Or, I don't know, maybe she's on a bus. I can't remember. I mean, that'd be very good. But then you'd say, I'm from New York City. Of course, I've taken a bus before. But at least in film terms, she wouldn't know how to take a bus. But I don't know. And I think I'm going to rewatch this movie because it's been so long. And don't worry, the second movie, I will spoil the plot very quickly because I don't remember anything about it, or almost nothing about it. But okay, so Joan gets separated from from whoever she was getting a ride with. I guess it doesn't something's not making sense of the randomness of what I remember. So I'm probably wrong in here. But I do remember one of the sequences from the trailer that is not that big a scene, but so it's pouring rain. And she's in a rainforest. It's very muddy. She's in high heels. She's exasperated. She's wandering around. It's pretty dark. And then she accidentally goes down a water slide, just like in Goonies or other movies where you're like, holy cow, this is like every kid's dream. It was my dream. I said, why can't I wander through someplace that's raining, but it's warm? And then I stumble onto a water slide that's made of mud. So she slides down that, which is interesting, which is even funnier because I didn't remember this, but this is a plot point in the second episode of Multiplex. because it's a good device because you can't ever go, but you can't go back to the path you were on. And I just realized that I'm using the same method. So it's a handy storytelling device, I guess, apparently, because, once you go, you've diverted from the path, but then you can't go return because you've slid down somewhere into a new world. So she slid down and she's in the mud. She's sopping wet. Okay, but this doesn't make sense. Okay, so we have to jump back again. So now this is why we do these tales of the tape. So she goes back and she like at some point she must have met Michael Douglas's character earlier, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense, because they're actually together on the mudslide. And the only reason for that is a moment that I didn't understand as a young boy that's in there, but like an allusion to when your back sweats. But so she must have hired Michael Douglas's character, Jack Colton, to drive her to wherever she has to go from the airport, apparently. I don't know. Like, so I am missing like a chunk of the movie, a small chunk. Flies from New York, meets Michael Douglas's character. I would presume he's a down on his luck. She asked 3 people, and he was the last person, and then he refused. She refused. But they both needed each other. Like, he needed the money, and no one else could give her a ride. Or maybe she doesn't speak enough Spanish, or whatever it is. Like, so he finally, like, she takes pity on him. They both think they're taking pity on the other person. Okay, fine, you could drive me. Okay, fine, I'll give you a ride. But don't talk to me because you're a New York City big shot. And she's like, and you're a ruffian, expat, rogue or whatever, knave, I don't know. Okay, so that would make more sense. And then they would be, if again, we're sticking with these semi-tropey things that work, is that she's correct. They can't agree on driving or direction. And so then the car breaks down. They're in some sort of Jeep, I would assume. Okay, and then she's like, then she has all this luggage. So, of course, this it gives it more immediacy. He's like, I can't believe you have all this luggage, blah, blah, blah. Then they do the mudslide together because they're also under the, like, I just remember they have, like they end up together in the mud, and it's like, oh boy, is this foreshadowing? And again, I was just a young lad, so I didn't understand foreshadowing or why your back would sweat. So I didn't know any of that. So, but that's the case. Then, so they're soaking wet, right? And then they have to make camp. But they only have like one box of her luggage, maybe her manuscript, hopefully, and the cash money for the powdered sugar loan or whatever. Okay, then there's another sequence I didn't understand, and again, it plays into these tropes, but it worked. They're trying to find some place to make shelter for the night. They find an old plane that had landed there forever and been there a while, and they have to build a fire, and the plane is full of bricks of of dried grass. And I just did not understand this because, again, I was a little kid. But so they start making the fire from these bricks of dried grass. And Michael Douglas is like breathing in the smoke. And I don't know if her character was or whatever, but he like is inhaling the smoke from the dried grass. And he's been detached from our world, the way of life of Joan in the United States or whatever for a while. So she they're arguing, but she's also giving him news. The biggest piece of news was that the Doobie Brothers had broken up, which it was just when I was thinking of this movie, I said, Doobie Brothers, like, huh? But also, like, as a kid, I didn't know who the Doobie Brothers were. And I still didn't know, okay, let's look up the Doobie Brothers, because I still didn't realize, I mean, now I do. And I like I love the tone, the non-creaky dulcet tones of the Doobie Brothers. But I didn't realize that them breaking up was important enough to be mentioned in a movie and that he would be devastated. Okay, they were formed in 1970 in San Jose, California. Vocal harmonies. Now, where's the original lineup? I mean, Michael McDonald, the founding members. Oh, this is the current lineup. But the founding members were Tom Johnston, guitars and vocals, Patrick Simmons, Michael McDonald, and John McPhee. And there's other people that have been, and they're still performing. But yeah, see, Johnson provided the vocals for the band from 70 to 75 when they had a mainstream rock sound. Michael McDonald joined in 75 as keyboard player and second lead vocalist. And that kind of gave a new sound to the band. And they were co-lead vocalists on Taking It to the Streets. Johnson retired in 77, and the band broke up in 82. So they had just broken up. And then 87, they got back together, but without Michael McDonald. What a Fool Believes, am I right? And then he rejoined the band in 2019 for their 50th anniversary. 14 albums, 6 top 10 appearances. What a Fool Believes. The Best of the Doobies came out in 76. So listen to the music. Jesus Is Just All Right. Long Train Running. China Groove. Black Water. Taking It to the Streets. What a Fool Believes. And The Doctor. I'll have to listen to The Doctor. That doesn't really help me. Never thought there'd be a 5-minute Doobie Brothers tangent in there. Rosen said, "What? Okay, so this is the name. Yeah, it does have to do with that. But Hartman said he didn't even know what Doobie meant until somebody else told him. But everybody in the band agreed that was kind of a funny name. But they thought they would only use it, but it caught. Okay, so that's the Doobie Brothers, and they broke up. It was a Michael. I mean, not to. Well, I'm not from I'm not trying to throw any shade, but to me, like Michael McDonald's voice is what I associate with the Doobie Brothers. But again, I'm not that. I'm like a little aged out. Okay, so back to the movie, which I don't really remember much else about. So he says, I can't believe the Doobie Brothers broke up. By the way, I think essentially we're going to have to hike all the way to Cartagena. Now, at some point, maybe even earlier in the movie, oh no, yes. So at some point also Danny DeVito. Okay, so this is like gathering moss on missing stones or something. So at some point, Danny DeVito's character is following them. And he's hapless too. And so he must be having to follow them just in case or something, or even though he's involved in the scheme. And his brother or his partner does not treat him well. So he also gets lost in the forest and everything. But he's trying to keep up with them. Okay, so whatever. They talk about the Doobie Brothers. They loathe each other. Joan and Jack or whatever. Is that his name? Jack Colton? Joan and Jack? And Danny DeVito's character is following them. Then they try, this is really my only other memory is they try to cross the country. And at some point they encounter a guy, Zolo, who is like a the leader of some group and owns a bunch of land or something, but they're also trying to get away from somebody. Like, so they have adventures, like, what do you call it, tests and adoration, whatever they call it, allies and I mean, he's one of their allies, I think. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's the one chasing them. But I don't know. He seemed like a very flashy character, and he has like a car called, like, he's the one who has a truck, and it has like extra, like a nitro boost or something before Fast and Furious. And his thing has like a nickname, his truck, like I just remember it says like, say hello to my, don't worry, we'll take my burro or something. And they said, but there's 3 of us. How are we going to take your burro? And then he says, this is my burro. And it's some really cool 4x4 truck with nitro. So they get chased, and they must do something for him. So it must be like part of the gathering, the gathering of the things for the allies. And I would assume they separate. At different points, they realize, I'm sure Danny DeVito they encounter him. He probably lies to them. And then they finally get to Colombia, probably reach a point of no return. Like, I guess they would get to the final stage and they would break up. They realize they're in love with each other and they loathe each other, Joan and Jack. So I'd assume they get almost all the way there. And then they're like, okay, like they've reached some peak. And then they're like, better off we just go our separate ways, huh? And then maybe it's after I think there's like one last action sequence at like an old castle or old fort. And Danny DeVito's character probably changes teams and starts to work for the other side. And then they trick the other brother. And then I would assume that Joan returns. And on the plane ride back to New York, she rewrites her next novel now that she's met her character. Oh, because this is the thing I didn't mention the whole time, and I did. Michael Douglas's character is pretty much the same as the character in the novel. And then, of course, he returns. And then they make another movie called Jewel of the Nile. And I don't think Kathleen Turner's in it as much as like it's Michael Douglas, Danny DeVito. And I think the thing there is like they have to find the Jewel of the Nile. There's this one guy who seems like very like a Dalai Lama type character. And they have to but he speaks in riddles, and he's very friendly. And they have to get that guy who knows where the Jewel of the Nile is, and then the opposing forces have Joan as their guest, and they're going to exchange the Jewel of the Nile as long as they keep this guy who knows where it is, right, for Joan. But then we realize, just like you were the Santa Claus we needed all along. That's the only thing I remember about this movie. So let's see how wrong or right I was. Okay, so plot on Wikipedia. Okay, Joan Wilder's successful, lonely romance novelist. Latest novel, she meets Gloria. She gets handed a map that was sent by her brother-in-law. And everybody's in her business. Oh, so she has a secret map. Then she gets a call from her sister Elaine, who says, yeah, no, that was my husband's map. It's antiquities, people that are after antiquities, Ira and Ralph. So she doesn't need money. She just has to bring this map. It's a Cartagena, so it doesn't have anything to do with powdered sugar. Then Joan, wait a second. So Joan flies there. Then she meets Colonel Zolo, who has been looking for the map. He gets her to board the wrong bus. Okay, so that I was right about bus riding. Instead of going to Cartagena, it goes deep into the interior. Ralph realizes this and starts to follow Joan. Then Joan distracts the bus driver, and, it's just an accident. It bumps into a Land Rover. And everybody starts walking, but Joan meets Zolo, but the Land Rover's owner is a friend of Bird's, Jack T. Colton. Okay, so I remember this part. So he has a bunch of birds. So she says, if you get me out of here into a payphone, I'll give you $375. Okay, so I guess Zolo is not friends with them. He's some sort of, he's involved with some sort of group, trying to be dominant, I guess. So they're trying to elude Zolo. Okay, so Juan. Okay, so yeah, that's the person with the truck, Juan. He's a super fan of Jones. Okay, so that's the person I remember. So somehow they find this guy, Juan. Oh, because he's also a leader of a group. Okay. He's also a super fan of Jones, and he helps him get away from Zolo. And, then, they have an interlude, according to this. And then Jack says, why don't we find this treasure or whatever's on this map and then get your sister? Then everything comes together. So you have the Zolo group, Jack and Joan, Ralph, who's sleeping in the back of a car. They follow the clues. They find the treasure. Oh, the romancing the stone. Oh, boy. How did it take me that long to forget that there's a stone in the movie? 43 minutes. Okay, so that's the stone. They find the stone hidden. Okay, then Ralph takes the stone. Then Zolo's team shows up. Then Jack, they cause distraction. Jack gets it back from Ralph. Then, they go even on more external adventures. River, falling water from, rain. Oh, Jack and Joan are separated on opposite sides of a raging river. Jack has a map. Joan has a map. Jack has the emerald. Oh, Jack says, hey, I'll keep the emerald. You keep the map, and I'll meet you back in Cartagena. So Ira does not know they have the stone, I guess. So they give the map to Ira. She meets up with her sister. Zolo's group has Jack and Ralph and the stone. Okay, then there's Jack shows up, to save the day. There's, everybody's arguing over this emerald. And Jack has a choice, like all these things. Do I want the stone or Joan? And Jack, of course, saves Joan, not the stone. Ira gets away, doesn't help Ralph, so Jack also helps Ralph. But he goes off to try to get the stone after he saves everybody. So then Joan goes back to New York. She's written a new novel and another bestseller. And then she finds Jack, and he's got a brand new sailboat named the Angelina, after the heroine of Joan's novels. And he says, yeah, you sold the emerald for this boat of my dreams. And they head off. Oh, yeah, because I guess I remember them kissing and going on a boat together to head off into the world, There was also other attempts to make other sequels, but... or even a remake. They considered in 2007. And it was remade as a television series. Interesting. Okay, let's just see the plot of Jewel of the Nile. That's pretty wrong about it, but how did I forget the plot was that it was romancing the stone? Okay, so next movie takes place 6 months later. Their romance has gone stale. Joan's got writer's block, and Jack wants to sail around the world aimlessly while Joan goes back to New York. And then Joan gets hired to write somebody's autobiography. Jack says, "What are you doing?" That's when he bumps into Ralph. And Ralph says, "I want the stone, man. It was mine." Okay, then that's when they meet somebody who says that, they say that the guy that Joan's writing the book, the autobiography of, Omar, has the Jewel of the Nile. And so Jack and Ralph are like, let's find Joan and the Jewel of the Nile. And Joan realizes she's not going to write this guy's biography because he's not an enlightened ruler, which he claimed he was. Then Joan encounters who is, in fact, the Jewel of the Nile, who could be it could be an enlightened ruler. And then they realize, okay, we all have to work together. And, they all work together. This is some dated stuff, it seems like, but Joan tells Jack the jewel is not a gemstone, but a person. And then they use a British rock promotion special to convince, one guy's going to convince him that he's a prophet. And then, there's more actions, with a scenario from Joan's book. But then everything happens in the end. Joan and Jack get separated. They use a crane. And in the end, Joan and Jack get married by the Jewel of the Nile. Ralph's happy for them, but he didn't get any money. But then he gets some money in the end, and everybody's happy. So it's interesting. Here's something interesting. From the Jewel of the Nile, When the Going Gets Tough, the Tough Get Going by Billy Ocean. And The Jewel of the Nile by Precious Wilson were playing the movie. Douglas Turner and DeVito also co-starred with Ocean in the MTV video. Soundtrack also features Houdini's Interesting Folks Come Out at Night and No Sheep Are Sleeping Tonight by somebody. But this song was a huge hit. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Billy Ocean, man, classic. So let's see, description. It was Wayne Braithwaite, Barry Eastman, Mutt Lang, and Ocean. It was the theme song for the movie. Saxophone special by Vernon Jeffrey Smith. It was a hit. It climbed the charts, but it was outpaced by How Will I Know by Whitney Houston. Critical reception. It was a very slick U.S. pop number, but lacked the substance. Might say, Scoots, who's Billy Ocean? I'd say, well, you might be missing out then. Leslie Sebastian Charles, better known as Billy Ocean, is a singer and songwriter. And sang Love Really Hurts Without You, Red Light, Caribbean Queen, No More Love on the Run. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. There'll be sad songs to make you cry. Get out of my dreams, get into my car. And that spans like a long time. That was 88. A lot of movies, like hits for films, actually. Or a couple. But I don't even know. Get out of my dreams, get into my car. Was that like a driver's license movie? Or was that the name of the movie? We're really digging deep here. It's a Billy Ocean, based on a line from Sherman Brothers song. And Billy Ocean song. It was a number one music video. It has Billy. Oh, yeah, it was. It was from the 1988 film License to Drive, which was a team comedy film with the two Corys in it. Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Heather Graham, Carol Kane. Believe it or not, that came out in 88, I think. It was 88 minutes, man. $8 million budget, $22 million box office. It was in production in 87 and released in 88. That one's about a kid that gets his license to drive. Yeah, I don't know. We need to know much more about it. Reception, 2 million. Yeah, critical response was negative. 24% approval rating by critics. Despite a hardworking cast and a premise, it's a silly comedy. Maybe seek out better films. Generally unfavorable reviews. More than passable summer entertainment, music, Drive My Car by the Breakfast Club, Sweet Surrender by Brenda Kay, Star, I Feel Free by Belinda Carlisle, Time Starts Now by the Boys Club, Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car by Billy Ocean, Crucial by New Edition, One More Dance by Jonathan Butler, Jazzy's in the House by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Touch and Go by Femme Fatale, and Make Some Noise by Raiders. And then there was other films that weren't on the soundtrack. Mercedes Boy by Pebbles. I don't know how that's not on the soundtrack. Rush Hour by Jane Weidland. Strangers in the Night, Frank Sinatra. That's Life, Frank Sinatra. Waiting for the Big One, Femme Fatale. Trouble by Nia Peoples. Interesting. There was a reboot of this movie. They were developing a reboot in 2017. There was an unmade sequel in trilogy. License to Fly. And there could have been another one, a third installment called License to Dive. But yeah, I guess I highly recommend, I'm interested to see Argyle, and I probably will watch Romancing the Stone before I see Argyle. I'm looking forward to it. And always nice to take a meandering run down these type of paths. So thanks and good night, everybody. All right, everybody, this is Scoots here, and I just want to thank the people who are joining us over on Sleep With Me Plus. Really appreciate it. I want to thank Catherine, Susie, and Katarine. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Tracy, Michael, and Janae. Thanks, and good night. Austin, Shannon, and Marta. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Chloe, Andrew, and Scott. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Wouter, Jenica, and Sarah. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Alex, Craig, and Luke. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Patty, Kurt, and Tony. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Dean, Craig, and Stacy. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Zaria, Regina, and Rachel. Thank you, thanks, and good night. And Kelly, Alec, and Bonnie. Thanks, and good night, everybody. Thank you, everybody who supports the show directly. That's how we're able to come out free twice a week. Whether you support the show on Apple Podcasts, you're a patron, or you support the show on Sleep With Me Plus, or you support the sponsors. We all appreciate it. In a free way, you say, oh, man, I want some of that Sleep With Me Plus ad-free or story-only content. Yeah, you could get it for free by referring people. Just sign up for our referral program at sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. And people are earning 6 months regularly now on the referral program. So thanks, and good night. And here's Scoots with a tuck you in message. Good night, everybody. All right, everybody, Scoots here talking you in with this month in Sleep With Me Plus, audio news. We got a referral program going. If you want to sign up for that, you can always do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. I'm going to run through all the content we put out this month on Sleep With Me Plus. If you're still waiting to transition on Patreon to Sleep With Me Plus, you got most of this stuff too. And first, I'm going to start with like the podcast, the bonus podcast on Sleep With Me Plus, and I'm going to go in reverse. So this Saturday, Posty's got a new series that comes out on every other Saturday, just about, and it's called Welcome to Scooterville. And people are really excited about this. Those are Posty's Super Deluxe episodes. Everybody that supports the show gets those in the bonus feed, and they're really fun. They're really cool. And really creative. Some people like listening to them during the day. Some people fall asleep to them. On last Thursday, TNG First Contact Part 2 came out for Boar Friends and Boar Besties. And so it's coverage, two-part coverage in January and February. Bonus episode covering the Star Trek The Next Generation movie First Contact, excuse me. Then Saturday... oh wait, no, I'm scrolling too fast. Sorry. Then Saturday, February 3rd was another Posty Super Deluxe Welcome to Scooterville episode. And, that was everything in the bonus content feed. I think we got one more bonus. We got, some other stuff coming out. All intro, all night episodes. This for, Boar Buds and Boar Besties. It was Deep Value. And I don't know what the Patreon tiers were anymore. Deep Value and Ultimate Value or something. So we had an all-intro episode come out February 8th. And Big Farm in the Sky, PI, all-night episodes, episodes 6 through 13. That was part 2, 6 hours and 18 minutes of Big Farm in the Sky, PI. And then, this week, another all-intro episode will come out. Another all-intro episode came out on January 26th or 28th. I can't read that. Okay, and then the story-only feed and the ad-free feed on Sleep With Me Plus. The story-only episodes and the ad-free full episodes come out on the same day. So if you're a story-only listener, you get those on the same day. Or if you're making playlists. So let's see. Those are two separate podcasts on Sleep With Me Plus. But same content. The story-only versions have obviously no ads, no theme music, no jingle music, and no thank yous at the end and no intros. Just the story-only portion of the episode. Okay, so Sunday, 12:39, Dessert Week. That was Great British Bake Off, episode 6. Wednesday was Putt Putt Prodigy, our new series, Multiplex, episode 1. February 11th was Wandering Towers, a board game unboxing. There's 1,253 episodes in this feed right now. Sorry, I went off topic there. February 7th was Tapestry, which was for Valentine's Day in the public feed. And that was TNG, like a repeat of a TNG episode 560. February 4th, Roaring Twenties, Great British Baking You Off to Sleep, episode 5. That's season 10, collection 7. 12:35, January 31st, was Notebooks of the Journey into the World of Friends. That was a series review. We kind of look at the making of that series. January 28th was Romancing the Stone, Tale of the Tape, in anticipation of Argyle, which I still haven't seen yet. That was, and then January 24th was Dairy Week, Great British Baking You Off to Sleep, season 10, collection 7, episode 4. You can also see we stick at the same kind of rhythm for the most part of a kind of random Trending Tuesday style episode that could be anything. The board game unboxing, tell the tape, personal essay, Then we do the written series. So we finished up Journey into World of Friends. Now we're starting Multiplex. Then a TV show recap, with Great British Bake Off. And what else? I think that's everything. What I record this week? Great question. This ended up being the week of Bring It On, the cheerleading movie from 2000, by accident. Well, not even kind of by accident, totally by I did an episode I thought was going to be about Crayola crayons. Ended up kind of trying to imagine if there was a role-playing game based on the film that I'd never seen, Bring It On, even though I quote the trailer all the time on this podcast. Then I watched over 2 episodes, Bring It on mute, and kind of recorded, kind of like a TV recap episode. And those, with some kind of, I rented the movie, so 1.5 episodes have good quality closed captioning. But then my rental ran out when I broke up the second episode into 2 parts. So the final 25 minutes of the movie, I didn't have the best closed captioning, even though it was mostly action based. It was like the championship. But yeah, I still never saw it. It's already been brought, but I'll look up the trailer later today just to see. And those will come out, I don't know, right now it's in February. I don't know, those come out March or April. And those will probably come out as TV recaps because we're still recovering, honestly, from the strike. And I'm still a little, all the Great British Bake Off episodes we recorded before the strike. And so I'm still easing my way back into figuring out what our future of TV recap style episodes is. So we have some interim content right now, as I kind of see what I'm comfortable with and is sustainable for the long term of the podcast. And so, yeah, we'll go from there. And I think that's it for now. I'm glad you're all here. And if you ever want to support the show directly, trying to put these at the end of the public episodes just as an experiment so you can kind of get a better idea. Still a sleepy voice. But yeah, if you ever want to check out a 7-day trial at Sleep With Me Plus, it is a huge way to support all the work that goes into the show and make sure the podcast stays sustainable so that you can rely on it and a ton of other people can rely on it. You can do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. And then let me know what you think or tell me so I can say thank you. Thanks so much and good night.